coming up now is Kelvin Harrison Jr. and Lucy Boynton. Myself and Dom Lenoir sat down with them and this got videoed. So this will be put on YouTube. It's rather funny. They're in a great mood and we had a real laugh with them. They give some really cool advice for actors on this. Kelvin Harrison Jr., if you don't know, is the actor from movies like Loose, Monsters and Men, Waves, It Comes at Night, Elvis, where he played B.B. King, The Trial of the Chicago 7, and Cyrano. He's just one of those huge upcoming actors. He's going to be on everyone's lips very, very soon. If he isn't already, I imagine he'll be an awards contender coming the awards season. I hope so anyway. And then Lucy Boynton. She's the star of movies like Sing Street, Bohemian Rhapsody, Murder on the Orient Express, and very recently The Pale Blue Eye, which starred Christian Bale. So this is it. So I won't go on anymore. You can listen to them and you can take what you like from this. Okay, here we go. So nice to see you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. How are you doing? All right?
I'm great. I'm great.
Thank you.
Better now that I get to see you guys again.
He's been waiting.
There we are.
There you go.
We did it. Good.
And how are you, Lucy?
Good, thanks. Awesome. Yeah.
My first question is, I'm going to start with you, Lucy. Mm-hmm. So the character of Mary Antoinette is famously disliked in history. Like so many iterations have just been sort of like a very unlikable character. You've brought something very human to it that I found really fascinating, and I think it's the best version of the character I've seen. So what is the preparation for you in terms of the writing, the direction, and how you prep the role?
I think there's something kind of freeing about playing a character that has had so many iterations and is so well known, because you're kind of, usually when you're playing a real character, feels like this responsibility to encapsulate every element of them into this portrayal, and you feel like you want to do them justice by showing it all. And with this, I'm very aware that I only have to show one side of her that is really relevant to this story and this film. And as you said, it's like she's been so villainized throughout history, and I keep saying it, but I think it's true that I think she's been villainized in a really kind of inaccurate way. And had she been villainized for what she does in this film, it would be completely warranted and deserved. But that hasn't been the case. So it was actually really interesting reading as vastly as I could, kind of trying to leave my preconceived ideas of her at the door, read as vastly as I could, and then, start to narrow down what was relevant to this portrayal and kind of really, strike that kind of, that severity and why she chooses the decisions that she does, but make it kind of the ultimate villain.
And what was it that Stephen worked with you as well on to really pull that out? Was there certain things he wanted you to watch, the two of you, but start with you, Lucy, was there certain things that you went, oh, that would work, or how about this?
It wasn't so much watching and referencing material, it was just leaning into the lack of humanity in a way, that it's like she's very pragmatic in how she's serving her own needs and, behaving based on her own fears. So it's very self-serving, very self-protective. And so we kept trying to push it in the direction of like not being apologetic, not feeling guilty, just really remorseless. And it was so great to work so collaboratively with someone who really holds you accountable to that, so keeps pushing you in the direction that you both feel is right. But yeah, I had a great time working with him.
Yeah, I can imagine.
This is so good. I'm taking notes in my head. This is such a well-articulated version of how to do the process. No, for real. Like, this is good.
As if I can
you talk about your process? Like, how did you, you're a very compelling lead in this. So what was, when you first read the script, what was it that sort of grabbed you about the character? And what did you think, okay, I can bring my own sort of flavor to this, or my own approach?
I'm the opposite. I winged it. I was just like, I Googled this guy. I told you, I was like, all right, put the wig on me, let's see what happens.
Yeah, just wave my hands around a bit.
Really, I was like, all right, I guess I gotta...
But does that play into the character? Because, he is a sort of a charismatic, spontaneous character.
No, I absolutely did not wing it.
So much prep went into this.
I can imagine the amount of prep is ridiculous. Yeah. You must have really gone there. Yeah. Did you know how to play the violin before?
Well, it was my first
instrument.
Were you
a fencer?
Well, yeah.
I did a little bit of both before. Okay. My first instrument was violin. I played when I was 7. I did it for a couple of years. The program went away. I stopped. Fencing, I started because of Cyrano. I originally was going to do like this big fencing scene, and then
They saw it.
I think Pete was a little threatened by how good I was,
Yeah,
so
that's
he
it,
asked
yeah.
Joe to cut it.
Yeah.
That's the story I'm gonna go with.
Go with that narrative.
But yeah, just same thing. It's like you just read a bunch of stuff and listen to a lot of the music. Actually, told me the most about Joseph, because what I had to remind myself is that I wasn't playing an athlete solely. I was playing an artist, and an artist is like I think their work, like even I don't know if you feel this way, but the movies you choose say a lot about you too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The music you want to write about, what sounds you're interested in. I did study music, so you're thinking like, oh, are there a lot of augmented chords in here? Are there pentatonic scales in here? Are there, is it, a lot of dominant seven, or is it really major or minor, whatever is going on? And you're like, that kind of speaks to your sensibilities. And then you kind of have a musicality in how you want to present this, like where is he? Is he more cynic? Is he more cynical? Is he more positive? What's his vibe? Yeah.
And then
It's making sense.
and then when it comes to set, what's your kind of rehearsal processes, both of you? Like working with the director, do you like to sort of come in quite fresh to set? Do you like conversations in advance? Do you like to sort of play through the scenes? Like what's that kind of process like?
Love the analysis. I love the analysis and like plotting out and the nitpicking of like the intention of the thing, and then because then if we're all in the same kind of boat, with all in the same trajectory, then you're free to do your own thing, and then it can be really kind of real and spontaneous
That's
and
so
stuff.
true. I love a good chat.
Yeah, it was nice to hang out.
And generally, like directors working with them, obviously you come with your own idea of how you're going to play it. But then sometimes directors might twist that or say, actually, no, I don't see that. How do you deal with like challenges when you've come ready with an idea, or you think this is how it's going to work, and someone might just pull the rug? Yeah.
You're wrong. I'm right.
What's the honest answer?
I really hope you do that on set. No actual.
We have to approach Kelvin.
Get rid of this
No. Out.
X Factor star would be brilliant, wouldn't it? And then when you do well, all the glitter comes down as well.
Always. Yeah.
That would
Yourself
be
an
great.
encore. Yeah.
Brilliant choice. I don't know.
I think
You just try it.
in
You
terms
just
of
try
Yeah.
it.
Do you feel like if you over rehearse things that you lose that spontaneity, or do you like to sort of go into it lots and kind of get it out there and then sort of be free in the sort of the later takes to try the unusual stuff?
I think it depends on the material, and always with the directors, you go in with a uniform sense of the character and their trajectory. So it's rare that it's a real kind of polar opposite idea on the day. But yeah, I think you just kind of try everything. I don't love over rehearsing.
I
think it
sometimes
kills
do.
it.
I sometimes do. I like the over rehearsing simply because it comes to a point where you actually break by the point when you actually over rehearsed it too much, and then you have to start over again. It's like a reset button.
That Jesus.
I know, but I'm crazy.
What does the
Yeah,
reset?
that's
What
like
does the
the
reset button sound like? Is
punishment
it?
side of
It's like
Yeah. Yes. Kelvin's resetting, guys. Start rolling.
These are going to be such good sound bites for the interview. So is there anything in the sort of the written side of the script, when you get sent a script, is there anything like in this one, for instance, where you think there's something I'd like to tweak or maybe like move, or in terms of like changing dialogue, do you like to do that in advance, or is it more just the discussions of the intentions?
Respect the writers, man.
Especially right now.
Yeah.
Hot topic.
No. Yeah, that's especially when you're working with a writer like Stephanie
comments.
Robinson.
She's like, no,
I'm like,
read
no,
the whole thing, but I can't say
WJ
it.
Scott. No, when you're working with someone like Stephanie, it's just like, it's a gift of a script as it is. And also when you're reading it, I mean, you're the one coming into it later, so you're being so informed by the angle of the character that they've chosen, whether that's a fictional character that they have literally summoned from nothing, or that they've chosen to adapt, so they're coming in with a very specific point of view. So yeah, on something like this, I wouldn't.
And also, I could never try to improv.
I wouldn't improv.
Imagine.
Leave it to the
Can't do it with
players,
fencing,
man.
that's for sure.
My favorite though is when sometimes they do ask you in the period piece to be like, just like riff a little. Excuse me?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like doing Shakespeare.
Right,
Just
right,
riff
exactly.
on
Just
this.
riff a little bit.
Chuck a few bits of Shakespeare.
Huge Renaissance words here.
Yeah,
and there.
exactly. Here and there.
Just to remind themselves like why we need the writers.
Yeah.
Hear actors trying to make it up for a minute, and then they're like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we need the writers.
Yeah.
What,
Bring the
what
writer
is it?
back in.
What is it in scripts that you look for in the first place, anyway? Or was Chevalier, for instance, what jumped out for you? But in general, what do you look for? What works? Because you must get sent a lot these days. You're both,
What made you choose this
You're
as
both
well?
flying. You're both doing really well. So
Thanks.
Thanks.
it's a pleasure. I mean, it's true.
I'm just looking for an arc because sometimes
Yeah.
things just like I need the acts. I need Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, and I don't like a weak third act because I find that that's where it actually people know how to bring it home and people know how to start it. Act 2 is fine because it's usually just like we're starting to drive the plot. Either the plot's weak in the beginning, but the third act people just kind of get lost, and so I'm always just like,
You don't know how to tie it up.
I'm just that's where you expose to some people.
Also, great colloquial dialogue. So it's when you're watching something and you realize you've got completely lost in it because you can totally believe that these people are just like living with each other and like live in that character. And to write that kind of dialogue is such, I think, a specific skill where you're never actually talking about the thing that is the huge kind of elephant in the room. It's so well done.
It's definitely a balance, isn't it, between feeling extremely authentic to the area and then being too authentic where you sort of lose the audience. And I think this does a very good job of sort of finding that balance of never feeling unhuman.
Yeah, and they feel
Yes.
really real and lived in, and like I mean, so much thanks to Kelvin, but like you really live with this character. You can totally relate to him, so you don't get that distance that you can sometimes feel with period pieces. It's like this feels very relevant and connected, I think.
What I loved was your sense of power and belonging when you were wearing the wig, when you had the outfits on, that you just felt in the zone and you felt proud as the character to be wearing, and that came across brilliantly. Was that something that you'd really thought about his status in that world? Because it's very unusual for a black man to be in that world and be that powerful, and yet there you were. So when you're playing that, how did that relate to you, and what did you bring out, especially when you're on set?
It's just, I think it was this goes back to like that line. He says, "No man can turn down an excellent Frenchman." And like when you kind of just internalize that, and then you think about what the actual wigs represent.
You were
too.
just
There's
excellent.
two different wigs, and there's like the one with 2 curls, and the 3 one is like you're really like elevated in society. And so I think he was like, it's a badge of honor. And I wanted to wear it. It was just like, look at me, look at my curls, look at my 3 curls.
Yes.
And it gives you a sense of pride and a sense of understanding of what you've accomplished, and then not allowing anyone to like take a chip at it. Because if he shows that he has a chink in his armor, they're gonna treat him as such. And he's like, I don't have the capacity, I don't have the luxury of being vulnerable. So, yeah.
What were the most challenging scenes for you both in terms of the film?
Not enough cake?
Yeah.
Well, eat more cake.
Was it all easy?
No, it was.
Was it hard for you, especially, to switch your character from being like very much a friend to? Because I mean, that was an important flip.
The transition scene, I don't think it was hard for her,
No.
but it was pushing it to that place of like, of really not wanting to let the audience, not inviting any empathy in. And because when you go to the real extreme, then it is these two people like of equal and opposite, of the extent that he is so good and so honorable, she is so vile. And so that actually becomes like easier in a way because you know the balance and you can see that really clearly and go all in. But those transition scenes where she still thinks she's not doing anything wrong and it just has to be this way, it's finding the balance of like keeping the audience on the outside while understanding kind of her journey.
I felt very conflicted about your relationship. Actually, I thought it was very, very touching. The sort of how it ended up.
I thought
Sort of
you were
like a tragedy in a way.
Yeah, I thought you were both brilliant.
Yeah.
Actually, fantastic in the film. We just have to wrap up. But final bit of advice for actors working with directors. Anything on that line that would help to get them the role when they're on set? Just something. Little soundbite would be lovely.
Be open to discussion.
Yeah, that's true. Just be willing to play. That's what it comes down to. Like what I've learned, because I'm actually a control freak, and I have authority issues. But I find that my best work and the times I have the most fun is when I kind of go, I'm not trying to I'm just
Yeah.
releasing. I'm trusting this person, whether I agree with their choices or not. I'm gonna go for the ride, and I think that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, and it's that kind of collaboration and lack of ego.
Yes.
That's the
And
big
also,
one.
yeah, also because it's not protecting yourself and not feeling like self-conscious about trying things and failing. It's like just go for it, and
Which I guess is also down to the director making you feel like you have the freedom and the space
And
to
it's a safe
go there.
environment.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
a big. I mean, that's a note for all the directors out there.
Yeah.
Make sure you create a safe
Got a
environment.
few listening,
Yeah.
probably.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank
your
you.
time.
We really
honestly.
enjoyed the film.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you so
really
much.
brilliant. You two are fantastic in it, so thanks for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.